What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Curtain to Curtain. My name is Phoenix Clouden,
I am Lazuli.
and we are back on a very, very interesting episode of Curtain to
Listen,
Curtain.
listen. I think one of these is great, and I
I
think
think one
one
of
of
these is
these
great too.
is horrendous.
Oh
So I don't think we agree again though, so I'm worried. I'm worried.
man, it should be fun. It really
Yeah.
should be fun.
Yeah.
So we are in the G's. We are right where Lazuli has always wanted to be. We are discussing Greece and Natasha, Pierre, and the Great Comet of 1812. Why it's in the G's and not the N's is because
Because a lot of people refer to it as
it's
just
just the Great
Great
Comet.
Comet of or the Great Comet of 1812, and
Yeah.
didn't think that far ahead. Because I literally, it's not that I forget that Natasha. No, I do. I forget that it starts with Natasha and Pierre. I'm just like, oh yeah, the Great Comet. So,
Yeah. So we're
making the
going with
list, we didn't
the
think
it's
about that.
casually referred to name here.
Yeah, the G's are kind of sort of out of order. Not gonna lie, they're kind of sort of not in alphabetical order at all.
Yeah. Yeah, we kinda did some finagling on the
Yeah,
G's.
so.
So we're gonna do this one and then we're gonna come back and do some other
Some
stuff.
O's, yeah.
Some O's.
Some
Yeah.
O's, yeah. So,
Mm, magnificent. Okay. So we begin at what is the name of this
Greece.
high school?
Greece.
Taft High School
Taft,
in 1959, where we are talking about the musical written by Jim Jacobs and Warren Casey,
Yep.
Grease.
I thought that I knew the plot line of Grease. Everybody refers to Grease as this sort of like bikers, gang type of people, white people, gang type shit, and like really prim, proper, preppy people.
Hmm.
That's what I always thought the story was about and stuff. And that like at the end they switch, but then bond and like the main couple switches and then they do a cute little bonding moment and everything. No, that's not the story. That's
Nope.
not. Teen Beach Movie betrayed me. Because I thought that Teen Beach Movie, I didn't think that Teen Beach Movie was like a direct adaptation, of course, but I knew that they took a lot of inspiration from Greece, obviously. Like, so the actual story of Greece, I couldn't tell you what the actual plot of Greece is.
You know what?
I couldn't
Me
tell you.
either.
I couldn't tell you what the plot
I,
of Greece is.
I genuinely like.
I can't.
I'm reading it and I can't tell you what it is.
Yeah.
Like, so I guess the most generic way I can break it down is it's a bunch of kids at this high school. They're getting set to graduate, and it's basically detailing their life as they deal with a bunch of like really heavy issues.
Yeah.
Peer pressure, politics,
Mhm.
teen pregnancy, stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Gang violence, all of that stuff.
Mhm.
And it should be um more, what's the word I'm looking for? It should be
Yeah. It's,
harder. I guess it should be
yeah.
harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because it's the 50s
Yeah.
and everything.
And like I was reading it seems like what the writers, they had intended for it to be a much harder, much grittier
Good.
musical. But I think once they added the elements of 50s music, you can't. It's kind of hard to
It
like,
is.
yeah, to like
Because
go.
50s music is very whitewashed and stolen. But
Yeah,
um on because of it being so whitewashed and stolen, it's all very happy and
yeah,
positive
yeah.
feeling and like
Like
not
there's almost
yeah.
no mention of anything hardcore
No.
at all
No.
in any of that music.
Yeah.
So it's like it's very hard to do like a really hardcore kind of story
Mhm.
when the music that you're pairing with it is so
Right.
light and happy and yeah,
Right.
yeah. So it's weird.
But yeah, like even as a slice of life musical, since now that you've mentioned that like it's functionally a slice of life, I'm like,
Yeah.
it's a bad slice of life.
Well,
Look, I love me a good slice of life type of show and everything, like show,
right.
musical, whatever. Like
That's
I
Great
love
Comet,
Spy X Family. I
right?
would have,
It's kind of kind of yeah.
kind of, yeah. Like I love Spy X Family, great
Mm,
anime, and it's slice of life. Got some tense points and everything, and like there is a plot line there. But
right.
like it's a slice of life. That shit's fun.
Mm-hmm.
This Grease. I couldn't tell you the name of a single character.
Well, I'll help. So our story follows Sandra D,
Thank you.
who is a, I guess she's a transfer student
Yeah,
or
she's from
something.
Australia. I do
Yeah,
remember that part. She's from
yeah.
Australia.
So she's a transfer student, and she becomes romantically involved with
John Travolta.
John Travolta.
I don't know. I don't remember his name.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's Zuko.
Yeah,
It's
Danny
Zuko.
Zuko.
It's Zuko.
No, the fact that we were both there, it's like it's John Travolta.
Yeah,
Oh,
John Travolta. Yeah.
oh man, no,
No, she falls
romantic,
in love with Zuko during the summer
right?
because he happens to go to Australia, I guess,
Yeah,
they meet over the summer somehow. And then she transfers but doesn't know that he goes to that school, and then they have drama ensues between those two.
yeah. So I guess when they met, he was all cool. He didn't have his bad boy persona on.
Yeah.
And so when she goes there and they meet again and she sees him in a different light, that sort of throws a wrench in their relationship. And there's other characters like Rizzo, Betty Rizzo, Kaneki, Duty, Sonny, Rump, Frenchie.
You're naming these people, and I know Frenchie and I know Rizzo.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
couldn't tell. I don't.
and like I'm naming them and I don't know what purpose they serve.
Yeah.
Like so like apparently there's this group called the Pink Ladies, right?
Yeah.
And I guess they're like sort of like the female version
Yeah.
of whatever Danny Zuko is with his gang, which I don't know if they have a name. Oh yeah, the Burger Palace Boys.
The Burger Palace Boys.
Yeah, which they I think they changed that to something else
Yeah.
later down the line.
That feels wrong.
Yeah, cause I don't remember that being their name in the movie.
No. And
T-Birds, yeah, they changed them to the T-Birds.
Yeah. Plot. They're high schoolers and they're doing the high school things and stuff. You
Yeah.
know, one of them, Rizzo gets accused of being pregnant. There's like a high school rivalry type thing going on with another high school in the area.
Is there? Oh, I missed
Yeah.
that.
Because that's why they make the fancy car. Because they want to race against the other school.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, here's my thing.
Yeah.
Here's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
I have some respect for Greece. only because it's the bare bones that that is really like the blueprint that gave us uh High School Musical. Right?
Okay,
So
that's
like,
fair.
yeah,
It
so
is
like
one
that's
of
what,
the OGs. It's like
yeah,
Annie. It's one of the
yeah,
OGs.
exactly, right. And it gave us that, and it spawned that idea. Another musical that I just found out recently that they actually turned into a musical. Kind of mad that I didn't know this before we started the show, but is a movie that I loved forever, uh, and I've recently found out that they turned into a musical. Is Crybaby, right?
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't
with
know that
Johnny.
was a movie or a
Yeah,
musical.
and
So,
like Crybaby is literally Grease, but the only thing that they do is they make it very distinct that the what they call the greasers in here, they call the
mm-hmm.
drapes in Crybaby.
Mm,
And whatever Sandra D is, I don't know if they have a specific name for it, but they call those squares, right? And the battle is between the squares and the drapes, and they even have a race at the end of that one.
mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, you see all the parallels, but like I think
Right.
what they do so much better in Crybaby, and they also use '50s music. So like, but I think what they do in Crybaby is the difference between the squares and the drapes is the squares listen to the '50s music that
Mm-hmm.
Grease has, right? The
Mm-hmm.
happy-go-lucky kind of '50s
Yeah.
music, and the drapes listen to rockabilly, right?
Ah,
The rockabilly '50s
the
music,
stolen
which is
music.
yeah, the real stolen stuff, like the dirty nasty blues, like they
Yeah.
like all of that. Like they're smart enough though to have black people in the groups, so they're like
Oh.
yeah, we know that
Yeah.
where it came from.
Yeah.
Right? So like and I think that is better just giving like a distinct hey, this is the difference between these two. This is
Mm-hmm. It
and this
adds
is
another
why
layer to it.
and it
Another
adds another
layer,
layer to it.
like another layer of complexity that I just wasn't getting at Greece. I was just kind of
Yeah.
like,
And like
okay,
when
like,
like what killed me in the end of Greece is Sandra D she she switches up
mm-hmm.
to be with them. And I was always like, nah, that just sits wrong with me. But in Crybaby, the girl does the same thing. But she she does spend time as in the squares and she just realizes she doesn't like it.
Right.
She likes the Drake life more. And so that's why she goes to it.
Mm-hmm.
But at least that's explained. In Greece, it's just
No,
an
it's
immediate switch.
literally like during the race, she has a quick little solo at the end of it. And she's like, Sandra D's gone, and
Hmm.
then she pops out as a a big T or whatever the fuck they're called.
Yeah. And it's just like I don't know, like maybe if I saw it on stage, it wouldn't seem as abrupt.
Mm-hmm.
But I know like it's like a quick song, and then
It's
it's right
yeah,
into that.
right
And
into
I
the
think in the movie it's
ending.
barely even that. Like it's
Yeah.
like she literally like, and her song isn't like it's not like it
No.
changes form. Like
No.
it's like a ballad.
Yeah.
She sings like a sad ballad,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden she's that.
Yeah.
Now it's like it almost feels regretful that she's
Mm-hmm.
giving up who she is to
Right.
to be that, and it's like
Yeah.
that's a weird choice, man.
It is. It's very just. I don't like this show. I get why. I get why high schools do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's part of the same argument as like Annie. I forget what the other one was that we just talked about. I
Uh,
forget.
yeah. Me too. What,
Footloose.
Footloose or something? Yeah.
Footloose. Like I get why. No, it wasn't Footloose that we said that was.
I mean that would make sense
That
in
one
high
would
school,
make
but
sense. I forget, but
yeah.
like it's another show that I'm like, okay, it serves its purpose. It's a good musical to be done in high school. It's not super complex or anything, so high schoolers can realistically do it,
Hmm.
um, and everything. But also, there are better musicals,
Oh yeah.
significantly better musicals.
Oh
So,
yeah. Like this was so as I was listening to it, Like I don't. I think you said you saw the movie, right?
I watched the movie.
You watched the movie. When I watched the movie, I was like, I couldn't believe how bad it was. like I was like,
Cause I've
because I had
like
heard
heard so much
so much,
stuff about it.
right? Like it had been a
Yeah,
classic
yeah,
in everyone's mind. So I was
yeah.
like, I'm so looking forward to it. I have never seen such garbage in my life.
Yeah, I was
Like
just.
the scene that really irritates me, like truly got under my skin, is when Danny and Sandra they go on a date. I guess to like the drive through,
Oh yeah, at the
and
drive-in. Oh god,
yeah,
yeah,
and like he gets like super like aggressive and handsy and stuff,
yeah.
and it's like, and then he does that. She runs off naturally,
Mhm.
like, because you basically tried to assault this girl.
Right.
And then we stay with him, and he does like a soft ballad, like
Yeah.
where it's like, dude, no, you're the
No.
problem here. Like
Yeah.
what?
Ew.
Like,
And then
like
after that, it immediately cuts to like the whole rumor mill about Rizzo being pregnant, and I was
yeah,
just like, it was like whiplash. I was like,
right.
what?
It's like, what, can
What?
we stay with?
What?
What about that?
What about
Like,
Sandra?
right.
Like, how is she
She's just
doing?
okay with it. Like,
What?
oh.
Yeah.
It was so weird. It was just like,
Yeah.
what are we doing here? Like,
Yeah.
and it's so many like different stories, like,
And this
cause
was filmed in like the 70s. I'm pretty
yeah,
sure. Like,
unlike and the musical I think itself came out in like 71, 72,
yeah.
something like that, and yeah, 71, and I'm like, and it's about 1959, so like even in the year that it
Yeah.
came out, you're talking about a genre of music that was dead 10 years ago.
Yeah.
like, and it's just like,
It just, yeah.
yeah, man,
It's a very weird musical.
very weird.
Just,
Very weird. Because it definitely wants to be harder than it is.
yeah.
It can't be because of the music that it uses, that it chooses
Yeah.
to use. And then the story itself is a collection of these different stories from all of these different characters, and a lot of which you don't care much about.
No.
And then apparently there's supposed to be some sort of major story, like a main A story
Yeah, that's
between
the
this
entire
rivalry, but
thing. I
you never really get that.
Yeah, like because I think that what I think the A story is the high school rivalry type stuff because they have
Mm-hmm.
the scene at the high school at night. I forget what it's called. Pep rally. They have the pep rally scene and everything, and then we get Greased Lightning where they're trying to make the fancy car and stuff, and then they have the I think that's the A plot.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that I have to think on if it's the A plot is a problem.
Right.
That's a problem. I
Mm-mm.
shouldn't have to question whether or not the A plot is the A plot, you know?
Yeah.
So
And
I imagine this probably went. I mean, obviously it's a classic, so it went well when it first came out. But
right.
to modern audiences,
And I mean,
I don't
like,
think
I
people
think,
care about Grease these days.
right. I think that my issue with it is like, there's a much stronger way to do this story, right? I think you can simplify a lot of those
Oh
side
yeah.
character parts. I think you can bring that A story really up to the A level
Yes.
so that we can really take part in it.
Mhm.
Um, I think there's a lot of stuff in it that you can really get rid of. Like, oh God, one of the biggest songs in the movie, in the show uh, is that Summer Lovin'? It might be Summer Lovin'. Where they're saying "Tell me more, tell me
Oh,
more."
that's Summer Nights. Yeah.
Summer Nights, yeah.
I actually like that song. One of the
Yeah,
few songs I like.
I like it too, except for the line "Tell me more, tell me more." Did she put up a fight? What?
That's
Huh?
fair.
Like,
That's fair.
excuse you?
Excuse you?
Like,
What? What?
um, what?
What?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, like.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's someone
back in the
knows
day,
the
that
reason
shit
behind that
was,
line. Yeah.
I don't want to say normalized, but slightly more normal and common, i.e. they did less about it back in the day. Slightly,
Yeah,
yeah,
maybe.
they did slightly less about it than they do now, which isn't saying much because they don't do much about it nowadays. But
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, like, for it to be casually mentioned in the
yeah,
song is just like,
it's weird. Yeah, if there was
yeah,
to be a revival of sorts of it, which I mean they kind of sort of did with Teen Beach Movie. And I know, like, ha ha ha, Teen Beach Movie, blah 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 blah. But like, it's like Crybaby. I don't want to say Crybaby because I haven't seen Crybaby or anything like that. But based on what you've explained about Crybaby, Teen Beach Movie is another adaptation of Grease that does Grease significantly better.
significantly better.
Yeah. And it's a Disney movie.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I
It's
look
a
at High School
Disney
Musical.
movie past the peak of Disney movies. Like, I would say that, like,
Oh, no.
No. Because, like, the Teen Beach movie came out in, I think, like, 2015, 2016,
Oh,
mid-10s.
yeah, that is.
So it's
Yeah,
past,
that's way past.
the peak of, like, early 10s Disney movies.
Yeah.
And everything.
Yeah.
It's past that peak.
That's well past Halloween Town.
Yeah,
Like,
it's well past Halloween Town, Let It Shine, all the good classic movies and stuff. And it's still a good movie. The second one, the second and third one, we don't talk about those two. But the first one, because the other ones get weird, and I mean the first one does get weird, but it makes sense in context because obviously, like, Teen Beach Movie is about these kids who end up in this world of a TV show. They end up in this world and stuff, so it gets weird at the end because they're trying to escape, and everything. But it still does a really good job of, you know, showing that whole, like, you know, slice of life dichotomy thing of these two groups significantly better. And I would even say does the style of 50 music better than Grease does.
Yeah. Like,
because
that's what
every time I think about Grease, I think of Teen Beach Movie music. Like, that's what comes to me first. Like, Cruisin' for a Bruisin', that's Teen Beach Movie. They have another Summer Nights type song that I think of instead of Summer Nights. Like, like,
and yeah, so much about this is like, it's very generic. I just think it's very bare bones. It's very bare bones. And it's like,
it's very much like a trope archetype type movie. And that's why we get movies like Teen Beach Movie and Crybaby
High School Musical,
and High School Musical that build upon it and actually, you know, have an A plot, you know, actually build on these character tropes and, you know, types and everything, you know, actually add layers to it and everything, as opposed to it just being Grease.
Yeah, it's like, it feels like a musical that was made on its first draft.
Yes.
Like
it feels like
it's a musical very much made on its first draft, and it's like, if you had taken a few more passes at it,
you know, try and build up a plot, like just build up the A plot, because I feel that, like, high school rivalries are so fun. They're so fun.
And it's a great way to really center the conflict of your story, and and like, it just seems like that was kind of left to the wayside, and like the conflict became whether Sandra Dee and Danny Zuko will,
but not even
make out,
like,
or something.
Like, it's weird. So what's your top 5, if you have any?
So I really had to think about this, and when it comes right down to it, I do not have a top 5.
I don't either. It's okay. I have a top 3.
I have a top 3, and and that's really it. So my top 3. Let's do 3, 2, 1. So my third is going to be it's gonna be Summer Nights. I think Summer Nights, despite that incredibly awful line.
Yeah, it's a solid song. It's cute.
Yeah, it's a solid song. Second is gonna be those magic changes. I really like that song. I dug the hell out of
Yeah.
that. And then my number one is actually Beauty School Dropout. I think that's
That's fair.
hilarious.
Yeah, that's fun.
That was super fun.
Yeah, my top three, no specific order, is Greased Lightning. I think the sequence is just silly and fun. You know, they're like these kiddos dancing around this car,
Right.
this fancy sequence, and then it cuts to the end, and they're still in the fucking garage and shit. I think it's funny. Summer Nights, of course,
Yeah.
and then Hopelessly Devoted to You. I think it's a cute.
Oh.
I think it's a cute little ballad. I think it's
Nice.
a cute little I Want ballad type song.
Well, see, now that's interesting because "Hopelessly Devoted to You" was added to the movie version.
Yeah. Yes.
So like, now in the revivals, it's a part of
Yeah.
it, but it wasn't a part of the
Got
original
it.
movie. But yeah, I totally forgot about that because that's a great
It's
song.
cute. It's cute.
That's a good one.
But
Yeah.
yeah. My grade, I'm gonna give it a D.
A what?
D.
Oh,
I
I thought you said a C
no,
for
I
a second.
said
I was about to be
said
like,
a D. I don't think it's absolutely horrendous. I don't think it's horrible like Dear Evan Hansen and other musicals. I don't think it's a horrible, terrible musical, but I like what it's done for the environment of entertainment.
yeah,
I appreciate that this musical walked so that Crybaby, High School
Could
Musical, Teen Beach Movie, etc., could run.
yeah.
So
Yeah, because honestly, if it weren't for that, this would be an F.
yeah,
like,
it's
honestly,
it's rough.
Yeah,
It's rough.
because it's rough. It's like I said, it's just a musical made on its first
Yeah.
draft. Which, hey, kudos.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you did a great job on your first draft, but it's a first draft. You gotta do the rest of the work.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing. But I'm right there. I'm gonna ride that D with
Yeah.
you. Ooh, pause.
You're gonna write that D, huh? Huh? Yeah? Gonna write that D. Uh-huh.
I already know what clips I'm taking from this episode. Oh my god. I'm going with a D as well.
Yeah.
There we go. That's what I said.
All right.
Oh my god. Let's go to the
All
next
right.
one
The
already.
next one. Great Comet. Ooh. Tasty, tasty.
Tasty.
So Great Comet is set in 1812, obviously, because the full title is
Right.
Natasha, Pierre, and the Great Comet of 1812. It is based off of a 70-page section of War and Peace. About, obviously, Natasha, Pierre, and this dynamic of, Natasha and her cousin Sonia, they're betrothed, but because of it being 1812, there's a war going on. So their betrothed are out at the war and everything while they're in Moscow waiting for them to come back from the war and everything. And during this Natasha ends up meeting his family out of respect and everything, and the meeting ends up not going well. And so she goes to an opera and meets Anatole. Fuckboy slut number one.
Like,
Fuckboy slut
like
number
accurate,
one.
like facts, like facts.
And because Natasha is young, like, she's like 14, 16, like within that range.
Ew.
Yeah, she's young. She is young. So yeah, she's like between 14 and 18, if I remember correctly from the act. I didn't actually read it, but I remember ingesting all of this lore when I was having my hyperfixation of this musical back in high school. So she's somewhere in that age range. She's very young. But Anatole ends up, you know, being a fuckboy slut number one.
That he is.
That he is, and enamors her and gets her to fall in love with him after 3 days. And they attempt to run off, despite the fact that Anatole is married, and therefore cannot do that. And consequences ensue, and also Pierre is sad and upset the entire time. Listen, I love Pierre as a character, but like he really doesn't, like he does not do much until the end. He is just a sad drunk the entire musical until he because he's one of Anatole's friends. He's one of Anatole's besties and stuff, because Anatole's sister, Helene, is married to Pierre, who is fuckboy slut number 2.
Yes, she is.
Who is played by our queen, Amber Gray. Love her.
Oh,
love Amber Gray. Yeah, so once Pierre finds out that Anatole is trying to get with Natasha and everything, because Anatole never says it outright. Never says it outright until Maria, their grandmother, says something and is like, yo, your friend just tried to fucking take Natasha, what the fuck? And he's like, excuse me?
That's probably my favorite part. Like, what?
Yeah.
She's like, he did it.
What? So, but yeah, Natasha, after this whole fallout, drinks some arsenic in an attempt to, like, do suicide, because she's really upset. Especially because then, Andre comes home. Immediately afterward, he's like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Peace.
He's like, yeah, you, because she wrote him and told him that.
Yeah, she ended she broke it off. So.
And then when he comes back, he finds out why.
Yeah.
And he like, oh, so you out here slut butting it around town.
Yeah.
And you want me to be like.
Despite them on multiple occasions being told that, like, they're the best pairing. Like, in all of Russia and everything. So, but yeah, it's a very silly musical. It's like, obviously it's serious and everything, but like, it's got really good comedic timing and everything. It develops its characters really well and everything. There's only like a few there's like, I think 8 named characters that you have to like keep track of, and they're all, I would say, I think about 8, but like, they're really easy to keep track of, not just because their voices are distinct, but also, like, their archetypes are set up in the first song. Like, you know what you're getting into when you meet these characters, when they're like, oh yeah, like, Helene is a slut, Anatole's sister married to Pierre, and, like, etc., etc., etc. Like...
Yeah, it's like Natasha's young.
Sonia is good.
Sonia's good. Pierre's a drunk.
Yeah.
Helene's a hoe.
Yeah. Like, Noah Club's a good shot. Which, no, apparently he's not drunk.
That gets proven wrong. But yeah.
Like, it's just, it's a fun musical that, I think that its composition is beautiful. I think it's really well composed. I think, especially like sound effects wise, I noticed that when I was looking through the Tony Awards that there's no award for sound design. And I was like,
Really?
yeah, there's
For
no
sound
award for
design?
sound design. There's awards
Are you
for lighting
sure?
and set, but there's no award for sound design.
That's
There's an award for
weird. I
composition.
mean,
There's an award for composition and
yeah,
stuff, not sound
I
design.
no, cause oh wait, no, that's the Lucille Lortel Awards.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Yeah, the
so
Tonys,
they have it.
they have
They
it in
have it. They just don't have it
other
in
things,
other
but not the
awards, but not
Tonys.
in the
And I
Tonys.
was like, and I
Uh,
remember just looking and being like, Great Comet should have gotten best sound design because the sound design in this show,
well, I can kind of understand why they
amazing.
don't have that because it's like if you have orchestrations and you have
Sound design's its whole other separate thing, like, though.
yeah, because I'm
It's its
like, but
whole
I'm also
separate
like,
craft.
it's a whole separate thing, but I'm like, how many musicals have it? You know what I'm
That's
saying? Like
fair. That's
it would
fair.
be it would be a category with like 2 to 3 nominees
Right.
max. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
fair. But
So that's the only reason.
yeah.
But
But
yeah,
yeah, no. I think that its sound design is great. I think that it was snubbed at the 2017 Tonys. Um,
in what?
Composition mostly, cause that Dear Evan Hansen got it.
Dear Hansen got composition too.
Yeah,
Damn.
I know. I think that it got snubbed in that, mainly that department, but just in general, it got nominated for so many Tonys, like, and only got like best lighting and best set, which like it should have because their lighting and set design is also really good. But like, come on now, against Dear Evan Hansen, come on now.
Listen, you know how I feel about Dear Evan
Listen,
Hansen.
I know that you love Evan Hansen. I think it shouldn't have been awarded that many awards. That's all I'm saying.
No, I agree
Especially
too.
with
I
Come
think
Come From Away.
yeah, when Come From Away should have took two of
Yeah,
those at least.
the amount of awards that Dear Evan Hansen got is a whole other story. But yeah,
That's
um,
crazy.
but yeah, I think that this musical is fun. I think it's silly. I think its composition's great. I think its storyline is very unserious. But that's why
one way of putting
but that's
it.
why I like it so much because it's just so goofy. And like it has its serious moments and everything. Of course, like those the ballads and stuff like that. But it's just fun. It's just a fun musical.
Huh.
And I know you disagree.
Oh, I have a
What's
question.
up?
I have a question. Did you see this live?
No, I have not. I have not seen it live in person, but I have seen the slime tutorials. It was only on Broadway.
Right,
Yeah, it was only on
Okay.
Broadway for like
Yeah, 'cause that-
8 months
Yeah,
because they had
it
their
shut
drama
down.
with the
Padawan and
because
Potemkin.
getting taken off as Pierre really quickly and everything, and everyone was
Yeah.
like, "Yo, what the fuck? Why is he being replaced by a white guy so soon?" And
Yeah.
everything, which obviously it's because of contracts and stuff, but just from a public viewpoint, it just looked weird. It looked bad.
Awful, yeah.
Because he was on for like I think 3 weeks. Like he was not on for long
Yeah.
at all.
Nah.
So it was just very weird.
So you guys heard Lazuli's take on this musical. Allow me to retort. This was I finished listening to this last night, and it was the equivalent to stabbing myself in the forehead with a sharp knife.
Wow. Did you listen to both versions?
Both versions. There's
I
another
told you
version.
There's two.
What's the other
There's
version?
the 2013 version with Philippa Sue and Dave Malloy, and then there's the 2017 Broadway version.
I listened to the 2017 Broadway version. Okay. All right. Yeah, knives in forehead.
Yeah. Okay.
Because, like, so I think that my issue with this one is sort of the same issue that I had with Fun Home, is that I like a certain style of musical, right? Like it's just where I party. And when you go away from that style, I'm like, okay, give me a reason. Like, give me a reason, or at least do something fun with it, right? Do something creative with it. Um, no.
Okay.
No.
I
This
don't
this
see. I will
is
say, I'm not. I'm gonna try not to have what we had last time, where we like started yelling and stuff. I cannot see your argument about this being non-linear, because that or not non-linear. I the story's in the music.
the stories in
In
the
the
what?
music, it's sung through and
Yeah.
everything.
No, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
get
Okay.
that.
Okay.
It's not the
Okay.
story. Like I gathered the
Okay.
story
Okay.
entirely. It's it's okay. So once we get past what is it? Once we get past no one else,
Okay.
right? Once we get past no one
Mhm.
else, all of the songs do this thing that genuinely makes me want to like find the person who did this and gouge their eyes out.
Really?
So um, it's where the song starts at a certain pace,
Mhm.
certain rhythm, certain
Mhm.
thing, and as soon as you're like, okay, this is the pace, this is the rhythm, once you settled into that, it goes, we're gonna do something totally different, and we're gonna, and the drums are gonna come in, and it's gonna be guitar, and you're like, what are we doing here? Like, it's like, what just
Mhm.
happened? And then it's like, and that goes on for so many different songs, and it's like just when I'm settling into the pace of what this song is, you randomly switch like
Mhm.
everything, and then it just becomes
Okay.
obnoxious and loud and
Okay.
annoying. And I'm
That's so
like,
funny because that's part of the reasons why I like this musical is because it's chaotic.
it
Because of how chaotic it is and everything. I love
it is so
Yeah, I
chaotic.
love that it leans into, even though the raves obviously weren't a fucking thing back in the 1800s and stuff. I love that it leans into Russian rave culture. I love that it does that. I can't fucking lie. I get why other
Oh,
people wouldn't like it. That's, you know what? That's so fucking fair. That's so fucking fair. I just think it's fucking hilarious. I think it's hilarious. It's why I think it's so unserious. Because
yes,
especially because
yes,
this is in War and Peace. Like
yeah.
this is based off of a 70-page section of War and Peace. So you expect this like incredibly serious story and everything.
Right.
And then you've got Pierre getting drunk as shit, even though he's not
Mm,
supposed to because of his corpulence and shit.
wow.
I'm listening to that line right now.
Mm.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, no. That is a completely fair critique. That is a completely fair critique, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's probably why it didn't get Best Composition, and in that case, that's completely fair. I still think Come From Away should have gotten it instead of Dear Evan Hansen. But anyways,
Yeah,
I
on that,
still think
like, you know what I'm
my
saying?
viewpoint is that Dear Evan Hansen still shouldn't have gotten composition from any standpoint. Period.
Mm,
Not to say
mm.
that its composition is bad, just that the other musicals that it was competing against for Best Composition did better.
Yeah. Well, see, it's so funny too because after I was listening to this and
Yeah.
stabbing myself in the forehead,
Calming
like
down.
I was like, I gotta see what else was on Broadway in 2016
Yeah,
because I'm like,
2016,
how did this
2017.
get 12
Yeah.
nominations?
Dear
I'm
Evan
like,
Hansen,
and I
Come From
went and I
Away.
looked I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
it wasn't much. So
Yeah.
I was like, all right,
Yeah.
I see, all
Yeah.
right, fine. I'm like, but yeah, man, because this was brutal.
Yeah.
This was brutal, and like the switching
Mhm.
of the songs or whatever that was bad enough as it is. But then somewhere in the middle of like Act Two
Mhm.
or something, I was like, they're no longer singing songs. They're literally reading the text of War and Peace in song form. Like, what? Like, all this, like, and literally they're singing the
They
narration.
do that the
They're
entire
like,
musical.
yeah, I didn't notice it until like the second act. I was just like, are they
Yeah.
singing their own
Yeah.
narration? Oh my god!
Yeah.
Like, Like in terms of like,
also another silly thing that I think is funny.
yeah,
I
I think
I think
if you're like on the vibe of being totally unserious, then this is
yeah.
fantastic. But like, I was sitting up here just listening, like, I know they ain't doing
Yeah.
that. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh
Yeah.
no, like so
Yeah. All
Oh god, I
right.
was so
That's
irritated.
fair. Would you be surprised if I told you that the director of this show directed Hadestown?
No
Yeah,
way.
Rachel Chavkin directed this and Hadestown.
Oh my
Uh huh.
god.
The Rachel Chavkin directed this.
Oh my god. Wow.
And I could see the influences between this and Hadestown.
Yeah.
You could see once you
Yeah.
think about it, it's like I see the influences and stuff. Especially with the
Oh my.
lighting and all that fun jazz. Like
That's
it's
crazy.
crazy. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Obviously
I mean,
different composers and stuff behind it, obviously.
yeah.
But like she
I mean,
directed.
but like talk about a glow up. You it's like yeah, you did something
Yeah, she
little
did her
freaky
thing,
here.
she did
Yeah.
her little silly thing here.
You let your freak flag
Yeah.
fly. Yeah, I see you. And then you go on and you create one of the greatest musicals of
Yeah.
all time. Okay,
Yeah,
sweet,
yeah,
fair.
yeah.
Like yeah, not bad.
Yeah. No, yeah. I just yeah, no. I can get from a serious standpoint the music of this musical being jarring, especially because like this I think was also on Broadway the same time Anastasia was on Broadway.
Yeah.
So definitely like two Russian musicals competing at the same time. And like I
Yeah.
personally think they're both great. But I understand why people wouldn't like this one because it's like you said, it's jarring. Especially if
Very.
you're coming from Anastasia and everything, which is 19th or 20th. No, 19th century.
Mhm.
Nope, 20th, because Great Comet's 19th. 20th century Russia, which is a lot more refined and it has a much more serious plot and everything, and is like handling it a lot more seriously and everything. And then you come to this and it's just a fucking rave. Yeah. Especially because, like, in this one, they use French a lot more than they use Russian, which was the thing back in 19th century Russia. They loved the French back then. I mean, they still did in the 20th century, but they loved
Right.
the French in 19th century Russia. So, I get it. From a serious
Wow.
standpoint, it's weird. It's wacky, it's jarring, I won't say it's confusing, but there are choices in there that's kind of just odd. Like, I think the narration stuff's silly. I don't take it seriously at all, obviously, but I get from a standpoint of, like, you're not supposed to hear that, and then hearing it, and everything, and being like,
Right.
what? You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I find it fun. Like I said, I like the composition a lot. I think it's silly. I enjoy it. If I want a fun, silly time, you know?
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
I think I would really get more of that vibe if I saw it, right?
That's
And
fair.
I meant to watch the slime tutorial, but I never got
Got
around
it.
to it.
You should. I
But,
will
like,
say you should still try and get around to it. I know that you don't like
Yeah.
this, but you should still try and get around to it because I think
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I have to imagine
It's a
that
rave.
there's something.
it is a
Yeah,
rave.
there's something in the performance where I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, okay,
like
I see
the
it
duel
now.
turns into a rave, the opera turns into a rave. I know.
This is just going.
Balaga
Oh my
and
God.
the song after Balaga turns in obviously. I mean that one's the more obvious. That one and the door, the more obvious ones that turn into a rave. But the opera does also kind of turn into a rave, kind of. But also like it's the opera, so it's got that weird opera section going on, which
Right.
completely understand the confusion of it because it confused me at first, and I remember being like, "What the
Yeah.
fuck?" And
I
then I
mean,
listened
I
to it more, and I
imagine-
was like, "Oh, okay, I get it.
Like I
Weird,
imagine,
but
I
silly."
imagine it has to be like anyone who's like used to seeing like musicals like Phantom of the Opera or you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying something like that, and then suddenly seeing Hamilton
Yeah,
and being like, wait,
yeah.
what?
It's something
Like,
like that. Like where you're so used
yeah,
to like just really serious like musicals that are like, ah, yes,
yeah, like
musical. Yeah,
Cats. You see like that, I know that, and that's the
yeah. And
musical,
then you
and then you get this, and you're like,
what?
wait, huh? It's
Yeah,
like they let that on
yeah,
what like.
yeah. But yeah, no,
So
it
like,
was originally off Broadway in 2013. Like I said, it had Philippa Sue and Dave
mm-hmm,
Malloy. It had a sort of a Hamilton thing going on where Dave Malloy, who was the writer, and I don't think he was the
right,
composer, but he was the writer behind it, also played Pierre in it and
right.
everything. He's not as bad of a vocalist as Lynn.
Lynn is actually a good vocalist. I don't want to hear that. I
Okay,
don't want
but
to hear that.
okay, but I still
He's
think
gotten better. He's not a great actor,
that's
but
fair.
he's
That's fair.
a
He's
decent
gotten
vocalist.
better as a vocalist since Hamilton, but
Yeah.
I still think that he shouldn't have played Hamilton in Hamilton. That's all I will say.
I think if you're gonna write it, you're gonna write yourself
Right,
a
that's
role.
fair.
Might as well.
But like he's not a great vocalist, but he does his job and everything. But I do
Yeah.
like that they had Josh Groban in it, and like in the Broadway version and everything. I think he does Pierre a lot better, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, do you perhaps have a top 5? I don't know if you do. I have many, but do you have a top 5?
I do
Yeah.
not.
Alright. Figured.
I don't have a top any. On this one, I'm sorry.
Really?
There isn't a song here. At least listening to it, there isn't a song here that
Really?
really grabbed me at all.
Wow.
So yeah,
Alright.
I was left in the dark on this one.
Wow.
So
Well.
my top is blank. I got a top
Wow.
0.
Man, you're gonna rate this an F, and I know it. um, I have a hold on. I gotta count. 1, 2. I have a top 7.
Okay.
Not in any particular order, obviously, especially for this one. But Natasha Lost, which you haven't heard because you only listened to the Broadway version. It is a off-Broadway exclusive, and they swapped this one out for Dust and Ashes. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is also in my tops. I love both of these songs, and I wish that we could have a version of it where they're both in. Because Natasha
Right.
Lost happens after the opera. And it's her going through her thought process and everything of like, oh my god, wait, I'm confused. Like it's her being confused about her feelings and
Right.
everything towards Anatole and Andre. So, good song. And is obviously Philippa Sue doing her Philippa Sue thing. So there's that. There's Letters. I think Letters is a solid Act 2 opener.
Okay.
And everything. I like Sonia Alone. I think Sonia Alone's a great solo, great ballad, and everything. I think it's cute. The Great Comet of 1812, the closer, I actually really like.
Okay.
Which is so funny because they don't ever mention this Great Comet at all until the titular song.
Last song.
And everything because it's supposed to be like representing that thing of hope and everything. So it just doesn't come up until then. In My House, solid song.
Okay.
Solid song.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
solid song right there. And then the sequence of the private and intimate life of the house and Natasha and the Bukonskis. That sequence.
Yeah, I'll give you
Solid.
That was
That shit's
pretty
good.
good.
I love that when they're doing the constrained part in Natasha and the Bukonskis, they actually make it feel constrained by having the Sonia and Natasha sing in a Discord and everything. So like it emphasizes the fact that this shit's awkward and weird, and neither of them want to be there and everything. Which is why I think I like the composition of the show so much, is that it just adds, it just gives another added layer of emphasis of what's going on in the show. But of course, like
Right.
I said, I see why people do not like this musical. I am just someone who sees it as it is, as an unserious musical, just trying to be silly and have fun and have raves and shit,
Yeah.
and stuff. And I think you would benefit from seeing the the show itself a lot, because I liked it before seeing
Yeah.
it, but I seeing the slime tutorial added to it and everything, especially because, like I said, like it got best set and best lighting for a reason. It pisses
Right.
me off that it only got those awards, but it got them for a reason. So, I know my
Okay.
grade's an A,
So-
but I imagine your grade is not. I know your grade is not an A, so let's just get it over with.
It was a. I will say it was an F last
Yeah.
night, but you've convinced me that there's things in it that I have to consider. So, and especially since I haven't seen the slime tutorial, I'm it's a tentative D minus for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I was not moved at all in the slightest with this one, but I'll take your recommendation. I will try and see it. Maybe once seeing it, that'll do something for me. But yeah, just composition wise and the way in which it was done, I get the unseriousness and that's hilarious. I don't know. I think for me it was a little too jarring to be enjoyed.
All right. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. I think what helps me is that I'm so used to it at this point that I
Right.
can see past the jarringness of it, of everything that goes on and stuff. But yeah. 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 You're not the first person I've met that told me they didn't like this musical. So, you're not the first. I still think
Yeah.
it was snubbed at the Tonys, and I will forever hold that opinion. Like, listen, I don't think Dear Evan Hansen is a bad musical. I just don't think it deserved all them awards. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't
Yeah.
think it
Hey,
deserved all them
listen.
awards.
We are actually in the same boat on that one. We're in the same boat on
I
that one.
think they should have shared
Yeah.
the love.
I think it could have
with
gone.
this
I think it could have
one,
gone
with
home
Anastasia,
with 4 awards
Come From
and
Away.
been fine.
Like, I think they should
Yeah.
have shared the love at the Academy and stuff.
Yeah, I think it honestly could have gone home with like
Yeah.
4 awards and been
Yeah.
perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but they needed
Yeah.
to spread the love there.
But anyway,
But all right.
next week.
So, what do we got
Next, we've got, like we said, our G's are out of order because we were finagling with the list. So next
Yes.
we have Godspell and Groundhog Day.
Ooh, I'm really looking forward to
I
those two.
know nothing about either of them. So
Me either. So that's like it's gonna be brand new, eyes wide
Yep.
open on
Yep.
both of those. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I mean, Groundhog Day. I didn't even know they made a musical of that. That's
oh, yeah,
insane.
I forgot that it's a movie. I gotta go watch that.
Yeah, it's a movie. I haven't seen it
Haven't
since
seen it at all.
it came out. Yeah, so I'm very interested to see how that translates into a movie. But all right, Whew. That was a rough one.
For you.
These all around
you.
for me.
For you.
Wait, god damn it. Pause again. I gave 2. No.
Yeah,
Oh
you
god.
did. You did do that.
I gotta stop giving
Yeah.
D's because this is an issue when I try
fucked
to
up.
talk about it.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's giving a lot of
That's fucked up.
questionable.
That's fucked up. You should change your grades. Be more positive.
Let's get out of here, man. I'm Phoenix
I'm
Cloud.
Lazuli.
We've been your adjacent theater kids. We are out, man.